we people who are involved with animal rights, we have a presidential candidate. Did you know that? Did folks know that? Clifton Roberts is running for president of the United States of America. And on the Humane Party ticket.
The UN Food and Agriculture Organization, they did a study and they found an amazing thing, that animal-based agriculture emits more greenhouse gases and CO2 equivalents than all the cars, planes, trains, all the means of transportation worldwide combined. And a front page article in World Watch magazine by two environmentalists associated with the World Bank indicated that the so-called livestock sector is responsible for at least 51% of all of the human-induced greenhouse gas emissions. All right, so every one of us has to take the responsibility, write letters, articles, call radio programs, speak to your friends, your neighbors, and tell them this is the most critical issue facing humanity.
1, 2, 3, 4, global warming's at our door. 1, 2, 3, 4, global warming's at our door.
95% of the egg-laying hens in the United States are cramped in long rows of stacked battery cages that are so small that they cannot spread their wings. In these gloomy, filthy places, they typically hold 50,000 to 125,000 birds. In this filthy place, many birds suffer from various diseases, yet the veterinary care is non-existent as individual birds are considered cheap and expendable. So birds who are critically ill are just thrown onto the dead piles. The average lifespan of a chicken is about 8 to 12 years, but for these hens, when their egg production goes down to 50%, which is only about 15 months old, they are no longer commercially profitable for the egg industry. At this point, an economic decision is made to send these birds to slaughterhouses or live poultry markets.
Save the planet! Save the animals! Save yourselves! Don't just say you love animals!
Today, I'm going to share with you my pearls of wisdom to be a healthy vegetarian. First important pearl of wisdom is to eat more raw food. I've been eating primarily raw for 27 years. My next pearl of wisdom is to bring in those green drinks, whether it's a green smoothie or a green juice. It's like taking a vitamin supplement every day when you can bring in a juice that's full of green leafy vegetables. Next, I highly recommend you detoxify your body. So periodic cleansing is so vitally important.
One struggle, one fight, human freedom, animal rights.
How many meat, egg, and dairy marketing executives does it take to screw in a light bulb? That's correct. None. They like keeping people in the dark. That is correct.
Fish constitute by far the greatest category of exploited animals. It's been estimated that between 1 and 3 trillion fish are killed each year, or caught in fishing each year. And that is a very conservative figure. It doesn't include the fish who are farmed or the fish who are illegally fished, which is another huge number. And it also doesn't include the fish who are non-commercially caught, which is another vast number of animals. They're caught in very brutal ways. Fish are also farmed in very cruel conditions, and they're all killed in very inhumane ways. They're not covered by the Humane Slaughter Act, and there's no legal protection for fish. Many other animals are killed as bycatch. They're not the intended victims, but hundreds of thousands of dolphins, whales, turtles, seals, birds all get caught up in fishing gear. Also, if a ship has reached its quota of fish that they're allowed to take, they'll just catch those fish and throw them back dead or dying. It's been estimated as much as 40% of the global catch is animals that were not intended victims and are thrown back dead and dying. Other animals are killed because they're competing with humans for fish, such as seals and sea lions and birds. yet other animals are scapegoated, blamed for killing fish. In fishing, it's not a sport. The fish are not willing participants, they're victims. It's not a sport, it's animal abuse, including catch and release fishing. Many of those fish who are released end up dying as a result of the injury and trauma they suffered. So it's not a sport, it's animal abuse.
Go fish! Go fish!
I like to talk about disruptive technology. Anybody hear about disruptive technology? This is like what's really happening in the world today, where we're shaking things up unexpectedly. And one of the greatest things that is happening right now, especially in the world of plant-based food, is using plant ingredients to make traditional foods that use animals. And now we're making those traditional foods with plant ingredients instead of animal ingredients. And there's a lot of investors that are interested in these companies that are making plant-based meats, plant-based cheeses. You might have heard some of them in the news. For example, big company Unilever last year was all over little company Hampton Foods for making a vegan mayonnaise. Now the FDA won't let us call it mayonnaise when it doesn't have eggs in it, so they call it mayo or something like mayo. And Unilever ended up suing this company, but then when the small company Hampton Foods started getting a lot more investors, Unilever decided to drop the case, and now they're making their own vegan mayo. If you can't beat them, join them. And unfortunately, some of the bigger food companies are getting the message. You may not know that Unilever also owns Ben & Jerry's, and Ben & Jerry's now has a line of vegan ice cream. Okay, they're getting it. If the money is there, they will go for it.
Industrial agriculture is the most unsustainable practice of modern civilization, and it's getting worse. It takes 1,799 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. Let me say that number again, it's staggering. 1,799 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of beef. That would mean I'd have to avoid about 100 showers. Well, I don't know about you, I don't want to give up my showers and lose my friends. In comparison, it takes 108 gallons for corn, 216 gallons for soy. And unfortunately, a lot of these food crops are being grown now for livestock, not for human consumption.
Why do we come here? I mean, it's called Veggie Pride. And the reason we come here is because, well, some of us do protests at various times of the year, but this is an occasion we can all take pride and joy in. It's a way to show that we're happy and excited and confident in the decision we've made in our life. Pride and joy in simplifying our lives, cutting out the middle animal, getting our protein directly from plants, allowing other animals to live in their ways and not on our plate, not die for our plates.
I mean, people can change things. We want to change things. Read my 101 Reasons. If you want to know about the horrors of this industry, do you want to know about the horrors of this industry? Economic, you know, the meat industry externalizes their expenses. And if you're an accountant, you know exactly what that means. That means that there's an expense and revenue. All accountants, expenses and revenues. Well, what the meat industry done is they took their expenses and they put it on the backs of us, you and me, by destroying the environment, by destroying our health, by just, I actually used to have a column in my magazine called Economic Justice for Vegetarians. Anyway, I'm losing my thought. Anyway, read the 101 Reasons. Get fired up. That's what this was for. It was obviously to make meat eaters into vegetarians, and I think I did that a few times with this. But it's more than that. It's to make you guys immensely pissed off about what's really going on. But honestly, until enough of us get really, 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 really mad and really upset and really come out in big numbers. And how we have to start understanding what activism is about. One more point. I remember back in the Vietnam era, what was always important was that helicopter up above, the demonstration. And they counted like 30 people in such and such area. And then they extrapolated and they figured out how many people were there for this demo. And they write that in the newspaper. We need more numbers. We have to have more numbers. We have to understand the importance of numbers. We have to take pictures of ourselves in numbers, because that is what they look at. That's what they look at. We need numbers, and I fear that we're nowhere near anywhere that is going to make a difference, particularly because the Democrats and Republicans don't disagree on even one thing regarding our issues. Not one thing.